Hello, beautifuls. I feel like we have some time today. I'm feeling like a good little chat is in order. What's we have? You see it? You see it? Yes. Okay. We're going to go ahead and continue today. And if we're not ready, it's okay because I'm going to preface with something real quick before you scroll away. Okay, why is this relevant? Why is this relevant? Who is Nephi? Why are we reading about Nephi? Who is this Nephi character? Are they even related to the people of the Bible? Are they even biblical? But of course, all right, why we're reading this now is this is where we left off in the Bible. This is after exile, at least for these first few chapters, because we do a huge timeline jump. I'm off of my predictions based off of what I know, that we will learn about, and it's very, very exciting. um, but why are we reading these first few chapters now is because this is the perfect time. This is the perfect time. So who is Nephi? Who is Nephi? He is the son of Lehi. Who is Lehi? So these individuals, this is a family, right? This is a family that left Israel, that left Jerusalem during these troubling times, these times of war, and they actually return. We're going to read about them returning today, and we'll see what happens. We'll hear the narrative, we'll tell the story. um, but what happens here is Nephi and Lehi, Lehi is being the father. Sorry if you can't see my hands. Lehi being the father, they are descendants of Joseph. Okay, so yes, they are biblical. They are Hebrew. These texts were written in like a what they call it, Reformed Egyptian, right? Reformed Egyptian, so based off of Hebrew. And yes, they who is Joseph, you may ask. We know Joseph and the coat of many colors. Joseph and the coat of many colors. So this gives us a frame of time, a frame of reference. So we're understanding, okay, if they're, pretty not close descendants, but related to Joseph and the coat of many colors. Who was Joseph, right? He was the one that was put in the pit and sold to Egypt, right? And he actually had two sons in Egypt as he entered into his reign miraculously, right? Entered into his reign by the grace of God. Joseph had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so these people here, Nephi and Lehi, they're descendants of Joseph and his Egyptian sons. So now we're understanding, okay, these people. It's just a different time frame, different migration patterns, right? Different stories that we get to learn and explore and read together, right? This is the gift of life that we are able to read. So it's very, very beautiful in that sense, just thinking of like how closely knit everybody is, right? Because Joseph was a very important character, as well as all of the other brothers, because they made up these amazing, amazing tribes of Judah, of Israel, right? There's Israel being the father, Jacob, right? And then we have Judah, which was the oldest brother, and that was the largest tribe, right? That was the largest tribe. We think about the 12 tribes of Israel. That comes from Jacob, right? From Israel. God renamed him Israel. So yes, it's a part of that, right? So we're thinking, okay, we understand Israel, Jacob, we understand Joseph being the son that was exiled to Egypt. So these are his descendants that we're reading about in this book of Nephi, and possibly further, we're going to read more to see what other lineages we can discover. So very beautiful. Let's go ahead and just think for a second. We know, right, just to understand genealogy, because it does not like to talk about it in this book here too much, because it's a lot. We read it in the Bible, we're like, okay, we get it. After about 10, 15 names, we understand, right? But it's good to understand and good to know. We do have from Jacob and Israel, right? Jacob being Israel. We have Isaac and Ishmael, who were the two sons of Abraham, right? We hear about Abraham and Isaac and Abraham and Ishmael. Ishmael was the son of his slave, right? The first son. He was the first son of Abraham with his slave, because Sarah didn't think that she can have babies. So Sarah and Isaac and Abraham eventually did have Isaac, and that was that blessed child, that miracle baby that came to them at like 90 years of age, right? So just remembering how close these individuals here and Joseph's descendants are to Abraham, right? It's not too far off. So this is the time frame that we're talking about. And then we understand where we left off in the Bible, right? Post-exile, post-drama. And we're understanding why these people, descendants of Joseph, the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, had decided to flee, and go out into the wilderness, none other, right? So let's go ahead and start where we left. We stopped at chapter 5, but we did read through chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken. And let me see. I'll just see if I can refresh myself with the last few lines of Nephi chapter 5. For he said that these plates of brass should never perish. And this is what this book was written on, plates of brass. Never perish, neither should they be dimmed any more by time. And he prophesied many things concerning his seed, right? His lineage. That's why we're talking about the genealogy. That's why we're talking about the lineage, right? Because seed is an interesting word to use, but again, it's that kind of, I don't want to say colloquial word, but talking about his predecessors and his predecessors and ancestors, right? Well, not ancestors, but predecessors in this case. Is that the right word? Okay, we're gonna continue. And it came to pass that thus far I and my father kept the commandments wherewith the Lord had commanded us, and we had obtained the records which the Lord had commanded us, and searched them and found that they were desirable, yea, even great worth unto us, insomuch that we could preserve the commandments of the Lord unto our children. Wherefore it was wisdom in the Lord that we should carry them with us, and we journeyed into the wilderness towards the land of promise. So that's where we left, and that's kind of where we left emotionally and mentally, right? We're journeying to this land of promise, actually, in real time, in physical time, and this is why, we experience all of these revelation, and I'm happy to talk about those more as time goes on. But let's go ahead and continue with chapter 6 here. Nephi writes the things of God. Nephi's purpose is to persuade men to come unto the God of Abraham and be saved. And takes place, it says the time here, which I do appreciate. It says 600 to 592 BC. Okay? And we continue here. And now I, Nephi, do not give this genealogy of my fathers in this part of my record, neither at any time shall I give it after upon these plates which I am writing, for it is given in the record which has been kept by my father. So what is that, right? That's in the Bible. Wherefore I do not write it in this work, right? Because it's much too great to put on these brass plates. For it sufficeth me to say that we are descendants of Joseph. And it mattereth not to me that I am particular to give a full account of all the things of my father, for they cannot be written upon these plates. For I desire the room that I may write on all of the things of God, right? So this is why, another reason why this book is so beautiful, because this is cool. Cool. I'll leave it at that. For the fullness of mine intent is that I may persuade men to come unto the God of Abraham, and to the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and be saved. Wherefore the things which are pleasing unto the world I do not write, but the things that are pleasing unto God, and unto those who are not of the world. So that's a very interesting line. Wherefore I shall give commandment unto my seed, that they shall not occupy these plates with the things that are of no worth to the children of men. Good. Continuing on to chapter 7. So this is Lehi's return to Jerusalem, and invite Ishmael and his household to join them in their journey. Laman and others rebel. Nephi extorts his brethren to have faith in the Lord. They bind him with cords and plan his destruction. He is freed by the power of faith. His brethren ask for forgiveness. Lehi and his company offer sacrifice and burnt offerings. So this is a little bit of drama here. And just so we're not confused, obviously, this is not talking about Abraham's Ishmael, right? This is a later Ishmael who is a descendant of Ephraim, I believe, a descendant of Ephraim. So we have the two sons of Joseph, Manasseh and Ephraim. So it's coming from that Egyptian line, right? It says here, And now I would that ye might know that after my father Lehi had made an end of prophesying concerning his seed, it came to pass that the Lord spake unto him again, saying that it was not meet for him, Lehi, and that he should take his family into the wilderness alone, but that his son should take daughters to wife, like daughters of family to wife, that they might raise up his seed unto the Lord in the land of promise. So they were told to go alone, right? And to take women with them, with women of the community, so they could reproduce and be elsewhere, right? And it came to pass that the Lord commanded him that I, Nephi, and my brethren should return unto the land of Jerusalem and bring down Ishmael and his family into the wilderness. Bring down Ishmael, just to take them with them, right? To encourage the family of Ishmael to come with them to the wilderness. And it came to pass that I, Nephi, did again with my brethren go forth into the wilderness to go up to Jerusalem. And it came to pass that we went up to the house of Ishmael, and we did gain favor in the sight of Ishmael, insomuch that we did speak unto him the words of the Lord. And it came to pass that the Lord did soften the heart of Ishmael and his household, insomuch that they took their journey with us down to the wilderness to the tent of our father. And it came to pass that as we journeyed in the wilderness, behold, Laman and Lemuel, and two of the daughters of Ishmael, and the two sons of Ishmael and their families, did rebel against us, against me, Nephi, and Sam, and their father Ishmael and his wife, and three other daughters. Okay. So it looks like we did have that little tiff, right, with Leman and Lemuel. If we're unclear about what happened between those, because honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering at the moment, it is in my previous video, just before this one, going over chapter 5, and then also 1 through 5, I think, is mentioned. So let's go ahead and continue. So they're causing some sort of rebellion within the community, right, in the wilderness community. And it came to pass, in which the rebellion they were desirous to return unto the land of Jerusalem. And now I, Nephi, being grieved, give me a second. Okay, blessings. I had a little interruption. You see the protocol for today. All right, we're having a bit of a holiday day, but I still have to be active and ready. While I was fuddling about with the work item here, I was able to just get a little bit of clarity, just so we're not lost, right? The issue that happened with Laban, right? It wasn't necessarily an issue. He was actually the one holding the genealogy of the Jews, right? Of the people of Jerusalem. He was holding the records and the genealogy. So Nephi and Lehi, right? They had to go, really the sons had to go see if they can request it for him, right? And there was a little bit of a scuffle, trying to get that genealogy, and just to, even if it were for them to just understand it fully. And how difficult, just so I can give you just a little bit of an insight, right, to why these things are difficult. I mean, how difficult is it to access our genealogy? I know I honestly took a deep dive on one of my bloodlines, right? One of my bloodlines, and it was difficult to do. It took about 24 hours for me to research and do, and most of it was the work of other people, and I used a website that was able to trace it. But I did have to find death records. I had to find like an obituary. I had to find dates. It wasn't something easy to do, even to find like my great 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 grandfather, right? That was not an easy thing. So we're wondering, why is it such a big deal? It's because, for somebody of my generation or your generations, it is difficult to try to actually ask, parents who may or may not be deceased, right? Who is this? When did this happen? It's not an easy task, because we're not all here, right? We're not all in one place anymore. So to find those obituaries, it could be a sensitive topic, right? So to find these death records and understanding who we are, right, is a bit of a process. So needless to say, I was able to get one bloodline to find maybe my maternal side is very, very difficult. I tried to search, nothing, the record keeping wasn't as set in stone, which may be okay, right? Maybe I'm just not meant to understand that right away, right? But in the future, I would love to learn more. In this sense, right? Lehi and Nephi and his sons were feeling this same, and Sam, right? That Sam is the other son. Were feeling that same kind of like constraint. They wanted these records for themselves, for their own understanding and knowledge, and it is something very important for us to try to keep track of to the best of our abilities and learn about. So they were trying to get those records from Laban, right? And excuse me, because this was Laman and Lemuel. Is that different? I do get the opportunity to check. So what we have here, from chapter 3, it does say, Lehi's sons returned to Jerusalem to obtain the plates of brass. Laban refuses to give the plates up. Nephi exhorts and encourages brethren. Laban steals their property and attempts to slay them, Laman and Lemuel. So they're in the same family, which makes sense. I figure, with the same first letter, right? Smite Nephi and Sam and are reproved by an angel, right? So there was this scuffle, if you will. All right. But big drama, right? Because it's one family giving up a record for themselves that they so painstakingly kept record of and recorded, and then they're all, again, it's from the same family, so they need that record as well. And it was, again, for knowledge and understanding. So without getting too much into that drama, let's go ahead and continue with our current drama. It says here, and it came to pass that, the rebellion, they were desirous to return to the land of Jerusalem. And now I, Nephi, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, therefore I spake upon them, saying, even unto Laman, and unto Lemuel, behold, ye are mine elder brethren. And how is it that ye are so hard in your hearts, and so blind in your minds, that ye have need that I, your younger brother, should speak unto you? Let me and set an example for you. How is it that ye have not hearkened unto the word of the Lord? How is it that ye have forgotten that ye have seen an angel of the Lord? And how is it that ye have forgotten what great things the Lord hath done for us, delivering us out of the hands of Laban, also that we should obtain the record? And how is it that ye have forgotten that the Lord is able to do all things according to his will? For the children of men, if it's so that they are to exercise faith in him, wherefore let us be faithful to him. And if so that we are faithful to him, we shall obtain the land full of promise, the land of promise, and ye shall know that some future period that the word of the Lord shall be fulfilled in concerning the destruction of Jerusalem. For all things concerning the destruction of Jerusalem must be fulfilled. For behold, the Spirit of the Lord ceaseth soon to strive with them. For behold, they have rejected prophets and Jeremiah, and have cast into prison. And they have sought to take away the life of my father, insomuch that they have driven him out of the land. So again, we're wondering why Nephi was exiled, essentially, right? Why they left into the wilderness. He was driven out of the land because of the violence against the prophets, right? Because again, Jerusalem is, even though it stems from these 12 brothers, right, there was corruption. Why? Because it was a very large city. It's a very rich city. It's a very large place of business for a long time, right? It was like kind of like a hub, a huge hub. People were going in and out, right? So there's a lot of drama. So now behold, I say unto you that if ye will return unto Jerusalem, ye shall also perish with them. And now that ye have no choice, go up into the land, and remember the words which I speak unto you, that if ye shall go, ye will also perish. For thus the Spirit of the Lord constraineth me, so that I should speak. And it came to pass that when I, Nephi, had spoken these words unto my brethren, they were angry with me. And it came to pass that they did lay their hands upon me. For behold, they were exceedingly wroth, and they did bind me with cords. For they sought to take away my life, and then that they might leave me in the wilderness to be devoured by wild beasts. But it also came to pass that I prayed unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, according to my faith which is in thee, wilt thou deliver me from the hands of my brethren? Yeah, even give me strength, that I may burst these bands with which I am bound. And it came to pass that when I had said those words, behold, the bands were loosed off of my hands and feet, and I stood up before my brethren, and I spake unto them again. And it came to pass that they were angry with me again, and they sought to lay hands on me. But behold, one of the daughters of Ishmael, yea, also her mother, and one of the sons of Ishmael did plead with my brethren, insomuch that they did soften their hearts, and they did cease striving to take away my life. And it came to pass that they were sorrowful because of their wickedness, insomuch that they did bow down before me, and did plead with me that I would forgive them of the thing they had done against me. And it came to pass that I did frankly forgive them all that they had done, and I did exhort them that they would pray unto the Lord their God for forgiveness. And it came to pass that they did so. And after they had been done praying unto the Lord, we did again travel on our journey towards the tent of our father. And it came to pass that we did come down unto the tent of our father. And after I and my brethren and all the house of Ishmael had come down to the tent of my father, they did give thanks unto their Lord God, and they did offer sacrifice and burnt offerings unto him. Okay, and so that is the end of chapter 6 and 7. And I will go ahead and stop here because I just had drinking some tea. So if you see me getting a little flush and sweaty, the heat is arising within me. It is arising within me. So let me go ahead and pause here. I'm feeling good. I would love to read more of this. I really, really would. So let me just post this and allow you guys to digest it first before we continue. I know that many of you have the patience to sit with me for days on end, so I do appreciate that. But again, we're getting into this storytelling and we're trying to understand the significance, right? And so hopefully by understanding the connection that this book has to the Bible and how interrelated and close we all are, right, it makes sense. And why biblical and religious narrative, faith-based narrative is so valuable and so important, because it is very much living. Like, we can read this and we can paint the picture and we can draw the parallels, and that's just what makes part of this so miraculous. All of it, right, so miraculous, because we read these stories happening years ago, then we see the parallels and we learn from them, right, and we offer up information and knowledge and storytelling from these sacred texts. And many of you may think, right, many of you who may not be so religious may think that it is a method of history repeating itself, in which sense it is, right, in which sense it is. But it's the ability to recognize the pattern and shift. Thank you. Okay, so as we are aware, this is a good time to stop. But again, pattern recognition, being able to learn from the patterns and disrupt, right? Because yeah, we tend to be tight-fisted, but it's better to be tight-fisted on the things we need to be tight-fisted about, and then peacemake, disrupt, right? Disrupt that. So we love these stories, that they really are very, very real, very, very ancient, but also relevant. So that's why we have such a fun time enjoying these narratives. Okay, God bless you guys. I will catch you in just a little bit. Looking at the time, I might take a little intermission, and I don't think that'll be away from you too long. I think we're going to go ahead and continue to see if we can finish out First Nephi. It's a little bit of a long book, I will say. It's a little bit of a long book. Again, the Book of Mormon itself is not extra lengthy, but actually viewing it in the app, right, it looks very modest. But looking at this looking at this, it is very long. But again, we're covering a lot of time, ladies and gentlemen. So with this, once we start getting into the era of Jesus appearing, we're going to have to look at the schedule, because we might have to go back into the New Testament of the Bible, start the New Testament, right? And continue in this depending on the time frames. So you guys let me know. I will do my own research, and once we get to that point, right? Once we start to sense the tinglings of Jesus Christ, right? Of Yahshua. So God bless you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.